Shortly after this filming, Inspector General Michelle Phillips announced her departure from the city of Oakland. As the inaugural IG, Michelle built the office from scratch. She leaves behind established policies, procedures, and a path forward for the work of the Office of the Inspector General. I wish only the very best for Michelle Phillips as she continues her work in civil service for the city of Minneapolis. Thank you for your leadership here in Oakland. Hello, and welcome to Trail Chats. I'm your host, Autumn King. On today's episode, we are trekking and chatting with Michelle Phillips, Oakland's Inspector General. Come along with us as we see what's on these trails. It's a bigger picture.
I think so too, and I think it'd be a great conversation to have.
We should talk more, but tell me, who is Michelle Phillips and how does your Oakland story begin?
I am just a public servant at heart. I'm a people pleaser in a way that I believe that we need to give back. When I received the opportunity, living in Baltimore, I was the Deputy Inspector General for the city of Baltimore, and they were like, we have this new office, and I talked to my daughter who's 20 years old, and she was like, Mommy, this is history. Like, this is Black history. This is woman history. Go and show them what you can do.
Well, let's pause and say exactly what that history is. So you are the Inspector General for the city of Oakland. It is, not only are you the first Black woman in this position, you are the first person in this position. 2021 voters, Oakland voters voted to expand Measure S1, and that's how your position came about?
So it was 2020 S1 modified LL to expand the jurisdiction of civilian oversight in the city of Oakland, to strengthen it, and then to establish an Office of the Inspector General, which would help to supplement the Community Police Review Agency, as well as the Oakland Police Commission that had already been established via Measure LL. So the OIG, the Office of the Inspector General, was established to help to monitor and audit systemic issues that were potentially embedded in the Oakland Police Department. So we would look at patterns and practices of violations of civil rights and civil liberties of the residents that the Oakland Police Department serves. So that was the charge of the Office of the Inspector General.
Why Oakland? Why now? Why do the people of Oakland want this now?
It was time.
Need this now?
I think that they wanted it before now. I think it was the time. It was the perfect storm. There were things happening nationwide. We're talking about Freddie Gray to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. There were, of course, here at BART, we had Oscar Grant. So there were things that were happening. And I think communities nationwide felt that there just was not enough transparency and accountability. There may have been accountability embedded in police departments or in city government structures that were just not transparent to community, so that folks knew what was happening and what procedures were being used to ensure that there was accountability for these individuals.
So are you shining light on the happenings within the police department, or are you working with them to change their ways? Tell me a little bit more about what your day-to-day charge is in working with the police.
So I think it's a little bit interesting because there's not necessarily always this collaborative effort, right? Because there is supposed to be this oversight entity. We're supposed to oversee. Overseeing is not interfering. And I want folks to kind of understand that. I am not a police officer. We have to kind of empower the police to do what their charge is, but to ensure that they know that there is someone looking.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So when you do take a misstep and you don't catch that misstep,
I'm here to catch that.
I am here to catch.
So you're not an enemy of the police. You're not looking for gotcha moments. You're not an enemy of the community. But what you're doing is you're saying, I'm a third eye. I'm
Yes.
okay. Understand.
I am here
Understand.
also to show community and honestly, some of the police department personnel as well, as we start to look at some of these policies that haven't been touched since the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s that really just hamper ability for Community Police Review Agency or the Internal Affairs Division to hold officers accountable. The language in these policies are outdated. There's so much information that has changed as the landscapes changed.
Right.
When we start to talk about classification of protected classes, right? These things have evolved over time.
I didn't think about that.
And we need to think about what discrimination truly is and what it looks like. So we're looking currently now, I am actually working with one of the lieutenants in the police department as we start to look at what cultural accountability in the police department looks like and how we can embed that in the policies so that officers don't forget where we came from, i.e. the riders' cases and the trauma that is embedded in the fabric of those issues in all of Oaklanders. Don't forget, understand that you are here to change not only that narrative, but the culture within, and we'll hold you accountable to it. So we're
not saying, again, as you were talking about earlier, holding you back there. We're not holding you accountable for those people and what they did, but we're saying that has left a mark.
Yes.
The community remembers.
Yes.
So now your job, police officers and those who work with, is to make it better or show us that you are trying to walk a different path.
You're changing.
And then you are helping with that.
Yeah.
What did you feel that you learned in Baltimore that you knew and were excited about bringing to Oakland? What made you say, I did this here, I can do it at this level there?
So as I rose through the ranks in Baltimore City, I started as a special agent doing line investigations and then evolved into a deputy inspector general working with council, working with the mayor to say, listen, to your point, we're shedding light on these issues. These are areas and gaps that is holding us back in yesterday where we cannot build that trust in community, not only with the police department, but with all areas of city government, from elected officials all the way down to the line workers. We have to be able to build that trust. And I think that that was something that really just was embedded in me, that I was like, I can have a seat at the table when I talk. People listen. So now I not only have the credentials and the experience, but I can take this with me everywhere that I go because I also have the passion that serves as my purpose.
I've got some questions about that. Can we walk a little bit?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. So we were talking about this being a startup, somewhat like a startup. I told you that I read an article where you were talking about how this position had you feeling like you were the head of a startup company. Everything was from the ground up. Tell me more about that. What does that mean that this was a startup company for you?
I would tell folks, like, it feels like a mom and pop shop, right? Like, I'm doing everything. I'm cooking. I'm running to the cashier and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. That's definitely how it was when I started the office. I had to stabilize it. We needed policies and procedures to govern how we do business. When we're talking about accountability and transparency, that's what community wants. They want to see how you are getting at the reports, the findings, the methodology, the scope. So I was like, okay, before we really start pushing out any types of documents or reports, we need to start level setting and letting folks know. So that's the first thing we needed. I was an office of one for about 5 months when I started. Yes.
You had no staff.
No staff.
You were hired into the position. You walked in and you
Yes.
had no team to support you in this.
No team. And I think the thought process behind that was, okay, well, when the IG comes, then the IG can hire their staff.
But that's a lot on your shoulders. That is you not only stepping into a role that needs to be filled, that's being called on to be filled by the community and saying, we want this. So they want you to get to work.
Yes.
But you're also ordering office supplies, hiring people, trying to design the culture of your office so that not only the internal people understand it, but outside people know what to expect. What kind of weight was that for you? How did you handle that?
It was huge. It was a lot of mental stress, a lot of emotional stress. I came from Baltimore to a city I had never been to. I'd never been to the city of Oakland. I knew nobody in the city of Oakland, but I knew that there was a point and a purpose for me to do this. And I believed that Oakland deserved this position and they deserved me to be the inaugural inspector general. So I put my head down and tried to figure out the budget process. I was still in the pandemic. We were just coming out of it, but people were still kind of working from home. So I'm trying to find who's in HR so I can start crafting job specifications for my staff. I didn't have any budget for supplies, no budget for supplies. I had no paper, no pens. So the director of finance was like, girl, let me help you. And I was like, can I just get some paper?
Did she take it to a closet?
You have
to a supply
she
closet?
let me go up there and she was like, just whatever you need, to go down there. So maybe 3 or 4 days in, I finally got an office.
Okay.
So I sat there and I was like, okay, let me work with HR to start trying to figure out what this office will look like, what vision I want for this office, what kind of leader I want to be in the city of Oakland. And that's kind of really how it started, having conversations with council members, having conversations with the mayor, city administrator, of course, talking to Regina Jackson, who was the chair at the time. She was the one who hired me. I was hired under her tenure, and just kind of letting her know what my vision was for this office and what I wanted to bring to the residents of Oakland. But it was a heavy weight. Oakland hazed me.
Feels like a bit of a, you use the word, I'll say that, a hazing period. How do you maintain your mental and emotional health? What do you do to check in on you?
So at that time, I didn't. I needed to understand what the challenges were that were specific to Oakland. We can talk about police oversight in general, but Oakland is very different.
Very
Oakland
unique,
has its own culture. It has its own history, and it has its own traumas that have been put upon the residents by the Oakland Police Department. And I needed to understand how that rooted in the social fabric of Oakland to be able to inform my work, and how transparent and in what type of way I needed to be transparent with community. Because everybody's like, oh, we'll just put everything out there. No. Because I'm a new office. Nobody has what is an inspector general? Never heard of it. What do you do? Well, what's the difference between you and the commission and the community police review agency?
It's all these questions. And so you're juggling that and trying to figure out how to maintain you and your staff at that point. How do you support new staff in this new culture, in this new environment? And
it was very interesting because, like I said, we had pandemic time. So of course, work from home. And I'm like, we're a brand new office. We need office culture. Like, we need to know who we are. While I was trying to get my permanent staff, I had temporary staff members come in, and we knew that they were only going to be there for a short time, which was really kind of hard because we did really great work in the beginning, but we knew it was 1-year contracts, and at some point they were going to have to be transitioned out. So we sat down and we helped to frame the vision. I had some oversight practitioners. Dr. Lee Anderson is an oversight practitioner in this work, and she helped me kind of frame what we wanted to do with this office. And I think that it was a lot of sitting down and putting the structures, but I had no grace period.
How many staff did you wind up with in your team?
So budgeted, in our first budget, I was able to get 8. And I thank City Council for that, because I was able to justify why I needed this. Understanding the negotiated settlement agreement, the responsibilities and roles of the compliance director and monitor. And at the inception of the negotiated settlement agreement that derived from the Ryder's case, the monitoring team had 9. Actually, I think they had 8. So I asked for 9. And I was like, this is what they had, and they're not doing as much as you want me to do.
A whole different conversation that we should talk about.
And it's not to take away from them, but they had a set of tasks, right? I still have to put a budget in place. I have to still hire people in a different type of way. There are administrative functions that this office must do, and just a different type of realm than the independent monitoring team. And then I have to report at police commission meetings.
Right.
And when I need to go to council meetings, and then be in community. So community knew that I was here to be transparent and let them know that I am available. If you have a question, please reach out to me, because that's what we needed to do. You said earlier, shed light on the evolution of police oversight and policing in Oakland so that we can ensure that there is constitutional policing. That is what is needed and wanted from our residents, and that's what we want to give them.
Do you feel like the team that you built and taking all that time and everything that you did to get there, now that we're looking back, standing here today, what are the top 3 things that you're most proud of that you and your team have accomplished or become since day one?
Honestly, I'm just very, very happy about the credibility that the Office of the Inspector General has been able to create and establish. I think trust is really, really important on both sides, our internal stakeholders as well as our external stakeholders. And we've done that with transparency and consistent communication. I'm so proud of the evolution of my staff. They've hunkered down and they were like, okay, let's find out everything that we need to know. Get out in community. Fostering those relationships is very, very important. And I'm super excited about that. We're moving forward with the ordinance, and I think that's important. It will help to bridge the gaps that the oversight structure had when I came in. It's hard when you don't have a practitioner to help with legislation. So, it's some fine tuning that needs to happen so that we can move and be better.
But you're proud overall.
Super excited about the evolution of the OIG.
I love that. Okay, we were talking about mental health. We're talking about how you maintain your emotional side, how you support your staff. Physically, we're out here in these lovely woods. What do you do to physically stay fit and keep yourself going?
Can we shout out the lake? Love the lake.
Yes.
It's a peace.
Love our lake.
So I will go and walk the lake. I live right downtown.
Okay.
So if I need to pop those ears.
I was just going to say that.
I'm telling you,
it's the perfect place for that.
It's zone out and go around, be in community and talk to folks. I also have a gym in my building. So I don't really sleep that well. So I'll be in the gym at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock just to get it out of my system and lay down. And I also walk to work.
We should probably do some more walking because we've been chatting and standing still for a minute.
Let's walk.
Let's walk, lady.
I'm here for it.
Okay, so tell me more about how your team, the things that you're doing with it. How do you support them? How would that work? If you want to be an Inspector General,
It's happening. I will see it. It's okay.
Tell me what you're thinking about for the future of Oakland.
I'm really, really, really optimistic with what I have been able to do in this leadership role, what the team has been able to do with this office. I'm very, very excited about what the future truly holds. I think I've started something great. There will continue to be momentum and movement as we help to build better constitutional policing. There has been that trajectory before I came here. We've continued that momentum, and I'm sure it'll be here for years to come.
You are the inaugural Inspector General.
Yes, ma'am.
You are the first Black woman Inspector General. You are what Oakland has right now, but I'm sure this is not the end of your journey. Once you are no longer in this role for Oakland, how do you want to be remembered here in Oakland?
I definitely want to be remembered as a trailblazer. The first Inspector General for the city of Oakland who has helped to just pave the way, put mechanisms, systems, and internal controls in place so that we can continue on the appropriate path towards better constitutional policing, as well as transparent police accountability in a way that everyone in the city of Oakland can believe and trust in the process. It's needed, it's wanted, it's now.
I wonder for you what this means personally. How has coming to Oakland changed you, defined you? What has coming to Oakland done for Michelle Phillips as an individual?
Oakland has grown Michelle Phillips as an individual, as a professional. I have dealt with some challenges here that I never thought I would. I have been challenged. I have been disrespected. I have been demeaned and honestly disregarded at times when all I wanted to do was serve my purpose. That was okay because it strengthened me. It made me stronger. It built a resilience in me that I already knew was here, and it unleashed a lion, a lioness that is here to protect the people. So regardless of these barriers that people put in front of me, I push through. I will continue to push through so that the next Inspector General has an easier, better, clearer path than I had.
Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it. I appreciate it as a woman. I appreciate it as a Black woman. I appreciate it as a resident of Oakland. Thank you for what you do for our residents and for our community. I appreciate you.
You're absolutely welcome. And I just want to say thank you, Oakland, for choosing me when I was choosing you.
It's been really good chatting with you. Thank you so much for trekking and chatting in this beautiful weather. Thank you for telling me about who you are and shedding a little bit more light on the office of the Inspector General.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you as well.
Should we walk some more and chat some more?
I think we should.
All right, let's keep going.
Come on.
I was really excited to hear you talking about some of the shifts and the changes and just, it's exciting. Like I'm proud of you and proud for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really proud for Oakland, right?